We're here today with Don Parker, who's the owner of Golden Solar, and you can, as you might imagine, he has solar photovoltaic system on his house here, but he's also got some other sustainable features here. Tell us about them.
Yes, I've been the owner of Golden Solar since 2011. We're standing in the backyard here of our house, right on our buffalo grass lawn at the foot of South Table Mountain.
And buffalo grass is sustainable because?
Because it does not require any extra water.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we just got 11 inches of rain here, but it'll survive on very little rain, and we don't actually have to water it at all if we don't want to.
That's good. And what else do you have here to show?
We have our 4 kilowatt array on the house. This was put on by Golden Solar in 2006.
When you
one
were
of the
a
first
customer.
arrays that Golden Solar installed. And ever since then, it's produced about 3/4 of our electricity. And I like to tell people I was so impressed I bought the company. Which for people younger than too young to remember the 1970s was a Remington razor commercial where the
Oh yes, right.
where the owner of the company talked about how he was so impressed he bought the company.
Right.
So ever since then, this has produced about 3/4 of our electricity. In 2012, we added 6 more panels on the southwest
That's up there.
roof, and in that case, we use micro inverters. So there's a little micro inverter right on the back of each panel. That makes the DC electricity produced by the panels right into AC electricity right on the roof. And then that's piped right into our breaker box.
Okay, let's talk about the other sustainable features. I see you have a heat pump.
Yes, we have a heat pump that
You might want to explain what that is.
that works as that compresses air, so it works like an air conditioner, but it also has the added feature of being able to bring heat into the house in the winter. So we're able to use some of our electricity from the solar arrays to make heat that reduces our gas bill in the winter.
Right.
And our gas usage.
Right. Okay, and what else would we like to educate people about? I notice you have a koi pond here.
We have a koi pond.
Now that's not in itself sustainable since you're not eating them.
We're not eating them. Not so far. I guess that's our plan B if everything fails. But we also have here a biofilter with some cattails and some iris growing in it.
So
that works as the filter for this koi pond.
So you have no mechanical filter on the koi pond. It's just you circulate the water through this cattail patch.
That's correct.
Which is in a bowl.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, very good. So you're cleaning the water the way nature does.
Exactly.
Okay, any other sustainable features before we wrap it up? You grow some of your own food, I see.
We do grow some of our own food.
Here's a grape arbor with
enjoy
lots of
that.
grapes.
The roof on the house is a metal roof. It's a 50-year roof. It reduces our insurance costs a little bit, and it does not have to be replaced after every hail.
Is that steel?
It is.
And it's coated with what?
Gravel.
But it looks like a wood shake roof.
It does.
From a distance,
It
but
does.
it's probably pretty impervious to hail damage and so forth.
Pretty impervious to hail damage.
Speaking of hail damage, people always wonder whether they're at risk of having a solar photovoltaic installation damaged by hail. As an owner of a company with countless customers, have you experienced any hail damage to your installations?
We have never experienced any hail damage to any of our installations. The solar panels that we install and that most people install typically are warranted for up to an inch or inch and a quarter hail at terminal velocity. We have never seen any panel damaged by hail. But I know it happens, and I know it can happen. If hail does damage a solar panel, we do sometimes get 2 or even 3 inch hail, very rarely around here. And that's the kind of thing that could damage a solar panel if it hit the solar panel
Square,
perpendicular to
Yeah.
it. And in that case, the homeowner's insurance or the leasing company's insurance would cover the damage to the array.
That's a good point you make about the leasing company. That's also one of the ways you can buy solar panels now is to lease them, and it actually ends up being cheaper than buying it outright and waiting for the tax rebate, right?
They're both good ways to get solar. Leases work particularly well for people who can't use the 30% federal tax credit, or who are very interested in making sure that somebody else is responsible for the maintenance of the system for 20 years.
Right.
And it is possible to do something called a full advance purchase.
Which I did.
Lease too, in which case somebody pays the leasing company, instead of a monthly payment, pays the full amount all up front.
And when they pay the monthly payment, is it always less than what they'd pay for the electricity that system generates?
It typically is a little bit less.
Yeah, yeah. So it's a good way to do the right thing without any out-of-pocket expense.
That's correct.
Right. So,
And then there are hybrid versions too, where somebody can pay some of the money up front and then have a lower monthly payment.
And you raised an interesting point. As a person with income, I don't think about it, but there are people out there who can't use the tax credit because they're retired and don't have enough income to offset it against. So that would be a really good example of somebody who should lease.
And that's a very good example.
Yeah. And then the maintenance thing, the inverter is probably the only thing that's likely to fail on a solar panel, a solar system, and that has what, a 15-year life expectancy?
There's typically about a 15-year life expectancy on a central inverter. They come with a 10-year warranty typically, although it is possible to buy an extended warranty for 20 years.
Yeah.
We typically don't recommend that because it costs almost double that to get the inverter.
Yeah.
And the microinverters come with a 25-year warranty.
Oh, I see. But the point is that if you bought the unit and your inverter failed after 15 or 19 years, you'd have to pay to replace that inverter. What would an inverter for your size system cost if you had to buy it yourself?
I'd say right now the prices have been coming down, but I'd say right now the cost would be somewhere in the neighborhood of 35 cents per watt. So for this 4-kilowatt array, the cost would be maybe around $1,500.
And if you leased it instead of bought it, the leasing company would pay for that.
That's correct.
Yeah, another reason to consider leasing. Okay, well, thanks for the education and for the tour of your house.
Thank you.